Hi everyone, it's Kaz. I'm back. I'm sorry it's been a little while since my last video and the manner in which it finished. Truth is I've been a little unhappy lately and but I'm still here and I still want to continue telling my story, so I'm back. And it's the 22nd of June, so I think where I left off last time was that I was telling the professor that I'd already had a brain MRI scheduled for Christmas Eve, the 24th of December 2010, and at this point that was probably another 2 weeks away, maybe 1 week away, I can't quite remember. All kind of meshes into one, as you guys would well know. So he did say to me, okay, well, we can give you a neck ultrasound because often it can be a pinched nerve. So he thought it was either anxiety or a pinched nerve, and he said, like I said last time, MS unlikely. So I went out of there still feeling quite uncomfortable, but I had some hope. As I said, I at least thought I'll cling to what he's saying and hopefully he's right. He knows what he's talking about. So I went home and I had the ultrasound a few days later. I didn't end up hearing anything about that, so I assumed that there was no real issue there, nothing to be concerned about, or I didn't really want to think that it wasn't a pinched nerve, but I didn't hear anything. So I was kind of obsessed in that period about thoughts about probably having MS or possibly having it. So I had this thing in my head because I was home every day and still quite ill from the relapse itself and not even close to 100%. So I spent a lot of time sleeping and on the couch, and I remember thinking every time a thought came into my head, I had this visual, like I got into Louise L. Hay, I had hope cards everywhere, I was doing whatever I could to try and change the course of whatever was going on. And I can remember lying in bed, I think that's when the thoughts would really creep in, and I can remember every time I had a thought about having MS, I would like almost visualise myself stamping it out, like, no, you don't. As soon as I'd have the thought, I'd actually stop it and, no you don't, you know, that kind of thing. So I was trying to do all the positive work that I could to erase the possibility, I suppose. So by the time the MRI came around on Christmas Eve, my symptoms were still pretty bad. I was probably about 60% of the way there, maybe 70%. So I went in and I got changed. My mum came with me, not to get changed, but she was in the waiting room, and I can remember being asked a whole heap of questions, which I felt I'd just filled out in the tick box form, but they had to ask me again, make sure I understood everything. And so, yep, okay, all good. So they gave me the gown to get changed into, and then they left me wait, and I was stuck in this tiny little room. I must have waited maybe half an hour, and in that time every kind of thought enters your head, and I was very teary and upset and frightened. And I'd said to them, I was saying to the universe, you know, this is it. Whatever comes out on this MRI is not going to be able to be changed. So God, if you're out there, you've got the power to do something now. Please help me. You know, like, it was very pivotal. Like, I knew that that was going to be the be all and end all. And I kept saying to God, if you can change this, now's the time that you can. You can make this better for me right now. So I went into the MRI and it took forever. It must have been an hour. I'd had an MRI I think in the past, but it wasn't this kind of an MRI. So I'd been in one of those things before, but this one was different. It was much longer. And they said to me at the beginning, we may need to send you back in with contrast dye. So we'll see how we go with the first one. So they put me in there and I went through maybe 40 minutes of that. And then they got me out of there and they said, yeah, we are going to put some contrast dye. And I thought to myself, that doesn't sound good. And I said to them, why? Oh no, I didn't say anything at the time. I think I was shocked that I had to go back in, and that I was worried, you know. I thought, if you're going to send me back in there, you've obviously seen something there. So I let it happen and I went back in there and did it again. And then I thought, as they got me out of there and took the blanket off me, I said, why did you need to use contrast? And I don't know what I expected to hear, but he just said to me, just to get some more information. So I just thought, that's not good. It's not good. So I didn't let them know that's how I felt, because I was still quite ill, you know, but that was what was running through my head. And then as they got me off there and they were, I don't know, doing what they did, I sat in the chair and he said to me, "Have you got a follow-up appointment for this?" And I looked at him and I said, "No, I haven't, no." And because it was December, he said to me, "You know, you better get onto that, because, you know, it's school holidays and it's quite busy, and, you know, if you don't ring up today, you might kind of miss out on..." Sorry, the bin's going. Yeah, so he was trying to get me to make an appointment pretty quickly, which, again, alarm bells going off. I thought, this is not good. They want me to ring up, they've seen something. They have to have. So I went home, my uncle met me and my auntie from Sydney. They'd come down because of my dad passing, so they were there to support me through and drive me and mum in instead of the cabs, so that was a relief. But I wasn't feeling any better by that point. I was more worried than ever. And so I thought to myself, I'll give it, you know, over Christmas, okay, it's going to be holidays and New Year's. I may not hear anything if something's come up that quickly, given that time of year. So I gave myself probably a 2-week time frame, and I thought, no, I gave myself to New Year's Eve. And I thought, if I don't hear anything by then, I'm good, I'm all good, I've got nothing to worry about. So it felt like being on death row, and went through Christmas. That was a lonely time, given Dad wasn't around, and yeah, and so then New Year's came around and I still hadn't had a call, but Mum had rung up the next day to make the follow-up appointment, and it had been scheduled for the 25th of February, which I thought, that is ages away, you know, it's a brain MRI, don't they want to see me before then? But I thought, okay, well, whatever. Talking too much. So, oh God, brain fog. Yeah, so New Year's came around and I hadn't heard anything, so I thought, this is really good news. You know, I didn't feel like I was out of the woods yet, but I thought it was really good that I hadn't heard anything, because I felt that if something really major had come up, they would have been on the phone to me straight away. So it turned out I needed to go to the GPs for another doctor's certificate to, you know, make sure I kept getting paid even though I was off work. And luckily I'd saved about 5 weeks of annual leave, because I was meant to go to Thailand, but clearly that was not going to happen now. So my trip was down the drain by this point, and I'd built up a lot of sick pay too. So I had a lot of blanket time to play with, but I still needed to get doctor's certificates. So I went to the GP and got that done, and I said to him that I'd been in for the brain MRI, and I said to him, I'm too scared to ring up and find out where it's at, and could you do that for me just to put my mind at ease that it's all clear? And he said, yep, I'll do that. So he rang up the hospital and he was told that the hospital would fax through the results to him. So we got off the phone and he said to me, the GP, I'll ring you once I know the results, once I receive them. So I thought, okay, well, in a couple of days I'll hear something, and I sure did. So I'll stop it there and I'll make another video, and hopefully I'm getting towards the end. I am, I promise. Okay, bye.